Hello and welcome, this is rooflemonger, and this video is a little bit different than the usual kind of video as this is actually a hardware review video. So the very fine folks at Mixbox actually sent me one of their units, as you can see here, to review. Now you might already look at this and say, hey, this is a little bit different than arcade sticks, because hey, there ain't no stick here, right? So this is an arcade style controller, absolutely. The only difference is, and this is the big difference, the buttons. You've seen buttons like this before, we all have, right? But we have here a keyboard style controller. So as you can see here, we have left, down, right, and up. And the purpose of this video here is I'm just going to be showing you what, makes this thing tick here. I'm going to be showing you how the parts all work together. I'm going to be showing it specifically in the context of SoulCalibur VI and how you can use this for SoulCalibur VI, and also just my personal opinion on the unit itself. So before anything else here, we're just going to cut to my kitchen table because I got no fancy setup here, right? And I just want to show you the arcade unit itself, or the arcade controller unit itself, compared to some other more standardized ones. All right, so rooflemonger here in the kitchen. I know the lighting's not the best, please forgive me. One thing I want to give you an idea first before anything else is just the idea of scale, because sometimes, it's hard to tell how big things are. So here's some ideas. Up front, we have a standard PS4 controller, despite its stupid camouflage color scheme. It was on sale, so I got it. So here on the left, we have the Mixbox itself. To its right, we have a Comba Insidian. Above that, we have an old school, early model PS4 Tournament Edition 2 stick, the limited edition Chun-Li one. And to the left of that, we have the Hori Real Arcade Pro 4 Kai. So just to give you a rough idea of the general size of this unit compared to everything else. All right, so now back to the Mixbox here. The one thing I'll mention before anything else here, so you might notice that the directional pads here are ever so slightly askew. This model is the Mixbox 12, and the reason it's ever so slightly askew is just simply to better fit the curvature of your wrist. So if I play on a stick normally, I'm usually like this. And so my wrists will naturally be kind of angled this way. There is a model where this is kind of just more straight, more like a keyboard. And there's even models where the buttons are over here and the control method is over here. If, say, you grew up on, using keyboards and stuff for fighting games, and you use the directionals here and you use the keys here. Me personally, in my younger days when I did play on a keyboard, I actually had it here and I used a numpad for my buttons over here. So this is perfectly fine for me, but this specific model is just angled just to fit the curve of your wrist, so you can have it straight or not. It's totally your choice. Now for the actual mechanical details of it. So these guys right here, these are Red Cherry MX mechanical key switches here, and I'll just switch to the bass audio real quick here just so you can hear them go. So as you can tell here, you obviously hear noise, but it's not like one of the really loud clack like some mechanical keyboard keys are. So it's very reasonable. The buttons are very soft. There's very little resistance to them. It's very easy just to move around here. So it is sandwich buttons, just like many arcade sticks you are used to. Fantastic buttons, and generally the industry standard. Now for a couple features here. So here on the side of the stick, you do have, and I'll just show it on this side here, we do have a touchpad, L3, R3 buttons. I spent a lot of my time on PS4 playing fighting games with the Chun-Li Tournament Edition stick you saw earlier, and I had no option for thumb click stuff and no option for touchpad, which is incredibly frustrating over the years. So I'm actually super glad that has that. It's very handy. And up here we have turbo options, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Share button, this is a PS4 controller first and foremost, and this will work on PS4s, this will work on PS3s, and this will work on PCs, as it does enable X input and our start button here options. Also for the cord, as you can see here, we do have a wired cord. It's a very thick cord. I actually do kind of appreciate that. And we have a cord setting right here. So all we gotta do, pop this bad boy open, and there's our cord, and you can see here, there's actually quite a bit more cord than what's being shown. So basically, this little divot here at the end, all you have to do is just basically select your length of cord, and then you're good to go. So for me, I don't necessarily want to use all of it, but I am happy that it is an option. Because say you're playing like on a couch and it's a long way to the console or something. But yeah, so it's basically as much or as little as you need here. It's kind of hard to pull out more if you don't want it, so that's awesome. So it's exactly what I need, so it's exactly what I'm using in the length I have so chosen. So now let's show this controller off for SoulCalibur VI. Just due to the nature of the controls itself, you might think, this would much more lend itself immediately to, say, a game like, Mortal Kombat X or Injustice 2, as those kind of games really, for the most part, only care about the cardinal directions. And, this game, hey, it's 8 ways runs in the name, right? That's the core feature of SoulCalibur VI, and there ain't 8 directions. Well, just to put your mind at ease real quick, it is very easy to do diagonals here, so I'm holding back, and if I hold down and down back, I get the diagonal, I let go, then I'm downing again here, hold forward, diagonal, let go, diagonal again, hold up, then hold back again, and I get my diagonal. So it's quite easy, as you can see here, to get all the diagonals. That is not an issue at all. Only way you would not get a diagonal is if you so chose to, by, holding a button, then immediately letting go, then going to the other coordinate direction here. Because as you see here, it's the easiest thing in the world here to get a quarter circle forwards here and get my diagonals. It's not a problem at all, because it's just part of the natural movement of your hand here. Much the same here. If you want to go backwards for a quarter circle backwards, much the same here. That's just how that works. Now, with SoulCalibur VI being the way it works here, a lot of the cardinal direction stuff actually is still very applicable here. Like a very basic combo for Song Mina here involved the launch here, which is 8-way run B. And, if you want to shortcut your 8-way run, you'll be usually doing up, up, or down, down. And due to the nature of the keyboard here and using your fingers, it's actually very quick to go up, up, or down, down, right? So we'll do this. I'm sure you've seen this combo a million times. There we go, easy peasy. So all that was, I'm just using up, up here. So if I was playing on stick, I'd just go like up, up like this. I find, especially on the ups, the downs is about equal. But on the ups, I can do this much faster on the Mixbox here than I can on the arcade stick, mostly due to my wrist. As with my wrist here, and oh my god, I hope you can't hear it cracking over the microphone because I got old man wrist here. My wrist, I can do this, not near as fast as I can do this, right? Hitting the down motion. So for me, hitting ups on this style of arcade stick here is so much faster than it is on a regular arcade stick. Downs, I can still do this, but yeah, so for an 8-way run launch here, easy peasy. Since we once again have just forward 4B here held to do our next hit. Very easy, and then the final hit is down back and B here, the very famous Song Mina low poke. And all we gotta do if we want diagonal, just hit both buttons at the same time. It's really that easy. So once again, we just string it all together. And hey, there's the basic Song Mina B&B combo. Now, another fun feature is, once again, since we mentioned how easy it is just using our fingers to get multiples of the same direction, one thing about SoulCalibur VI in particular here is when you're doing your 8-way run, your initial step in a direction is always faster than the rest of the walk preceding it. So if I just, hold up here, I go at a certain speed. If I go down, I go at a certain speed. But just that initial step here always is the fastest part. And since it's so easy just to, crank on one particular direction just because you are using your fingers here, just moving very quickly in a direction like this with multiple steps, bypassing the actual 8-way run walk part of it, actually becomes very easy to do without, burning out your wrist. Once again, I keep talking about wrist. Wrist is very important to me because it usually dictates what controller I play for what game. So stuff with my wrist is always very, oh my god, it's cracking again, jeez Louise. Stuff with my wrist is very important to me. So I find this actually quite a fun little feature we can input for SoulCalibur VI. It's not the biggest deal, especially not up front. But when you're fishing for like positioning here, just getting those quick steps will let you get just a little more edge on the terrain here, whether or not, your back's to the ring out position that is, or back to your wall or whatever. Just being able to step quickly in succession rather than just letting the 8-way run do your movement for you is pretty handy. Now, you might be saying, well, rooflemonger, that's all well and good, but what else here? I can move around just fine on joystick, you don't got weird, creaky old man wrist syndrome like you do. Hey, that's all great. That's awesome even, right? So what about complex motions? So here's a good showcase for that, actually. Ivy is not go with the times. Generally speaking, compared to old fighting games, motions have been getting easier over the years, right? Ivy, she don't care for that. She doesn't subscribe to that theory, right? Summon Suffering is still one of the stupidest motions to ever to grace fighting games. So you need down, forward, up, back, forward, down, forward, down, back, and throw, right? So on this setup, it's even actually pretty easy. I can actually do it for the most part even easier than I can on stick. Mostly thanks to the fact that, once again, since it's just 4 directions here, and if you want a diagonal, you have to hold it, it's just actually a lot easier to hit the cardinal directions without, you know, just kind of mashing and churning butter, right? So I'll just show you real quick here in slow-mo, and thankfully, due to the way Summon Suffering works, it has a very long buffer, so it'll be easy to show in slow-mo just how it all works. So all I have to do here is I need a down forward input and an up back input at first. So I'll just be doing this to get my down forward, and I'm just going to be rolling my hand up to like this, like that. So start here, and it's almost like a Zangief spinning pile driver motion. So I'll just be rolling my hand like that. And that'll give me my initial two movements here with the down forward and the up back I need. From then, I'm just going to let go because it's the easiest thing to return the neutral. In arcade sticks, it's a little difficult sometimes to return neutral, especially in, like, you know, a very churning butter situation. Here, all you do, just take your hands off, right? So then I'm just going to get the chord inputs I need here. So forward, then you hit down, hold down forward, and then hit down back like that. And that's exactly the motion here. No wasted movement for the most part. And that's all there is to it. And I'll just do it real quick again here just to show you that it's not a fluke. It's pretty easy, actually. Unless you get all the cardinal directions, super easy. That's really all there is to it. It does take a little bit to do, but it'll take a little bit to do no matter what you do. With it, you know, I play Ivy too. I played her plenty on stick. The motion is just long, right? Thankfully, you are allowed to buffer it into moves. That's just part of the gameplay system. That has nothing to do with the controller, but you are allowed to buffer it into moves. And that's one of the best ways if you do play Ivy to hide it. Just as shown there, right? So you're allowed to buffer all the inputs in there. So yeah, that's one of the trickiest, if not the trickiest motions in the game. And this makes it pretty easy to work with, honestly. The one thing that makes it extra easy, at least to me, is just that you don't got to worry about any of the jitterness of using your arcade stick, of, you know, hitting your directions and your diagonals specifically. Because if you don't get the diagonals right, the input for Summon Suffering will not work. So since the diagonals are fully under your control, it's like all I gotta do is like mess around like this, right? It makes Summon Suffering really easy. So I'm just going to show you some basic combo examples here, just to show you that this is not really that intimidating at all. It actually makes a lot of things kind of simple, actually. Alright, now let's just show you some test case stuff here. It's easy to do combos with this, just like any other form of control. You know, a stock console controller like a PS4 pad, a regular arcade stick. This thing can do it all just fine as well, right? So all in all, I gotta say, big fan of this, actually. One of the things I'm always cranky about, and like one of the reasons I play Dragon Ball FighterZ on a pad, is I'm always cranky about my wrist. That's a me problem. I know that's not a you problem. But since I get to just rest my hand here, just clack away, you know, I don't got to use my wrist here, and I'm very fast with my fingers anyways, so I'm actually super happy with that. I'm a big fan that this controller gets to save my wrist. All I got to give you, kids, watch out when you get older, because shit sucks. That's all I really got to say, right? Save your wrist, save your knees. That's my advice to you. But yeah, so I'm a big fan. I don't got to use my wrist a lot, and honestly, all things being equal, this is almost certainly going to be the way I'm going to be playing SoulCalibur 6 in the future. SoulCalibur 6, I do play on the arcade stick normally, and since I get to do what I get to do normally, like, I find zero difficulty using this for SoulCalibur 6 context. Like, once again, even like Summon Suffering, which is a pretty complex maneuver, it's very easy on the Mixbox. So all things being equal, yeah, this is going to be the way I'm playing SoulCalibur 6 in the future. And now I'm actually looking forward to applications for future NRS games, Mortal Kombat 11, whenever that happens. And yeah, I gotta say, as a review, hey, this is actually a pretty quality piece of product. Now, I gotta tell you right now, I know this ain't gonna be for everybody, right? If you like arcade sticks, this might not be for you. You don't want the digital inputs, that's fine. That's not going to be for everybody. I would not play this for every single game. Like Dragon Ball FighterZ, I'm still going to be playing on pad, right? But for SoulCalibur 6 specifically, this is why I kind of use it as our test case for the video. I actually find this quite impressive. And yeah, so not for every game, maybe not for everybody, but it absolutely is a home run in what it set out to do with this unique control scheme here. And I really like it for that. So yeah, that's definitely a very interesting piece of hardware. I'm glad I got to review it. I've never really reviewed anything on this channel hardware-wise, so that's pretty cool. And I gotta say, hey, hopefully this is picking up on the camera. I don't really know because I don't get to see this until post. But hey, thumbs up, I like it. Anyways, that's it for this video, so thank you very much for watching. Hope this video found you well. Go out and play some SoulCalibur, Dragon Ball, 700 games on PlayStation 4. Go play those. That's a lot of games. Play everything. Fighting games are fun. Just play them.